YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Rome 2. We're going to do another online battle replay, and I've been trying to get you a little bit of variety. I haven't had a whole lot of success yet, but boom, here we go. It's an ambush battle. So, Air, or Patchy, whatever you want to go by here, leads the Spartans against an unknown Carthaginian ambush on the map Pella. So, I know that previously there was a huge morale penalty for the person being ambushed. I'm not sure that that's present still, and I thought it still was, but anyway, I'll let you watch the opening here. So this is how it starts the battle. You have to start down in general camera until it allows you to come back out, but I'm going to go ahead and put it back in general camera just for cinematic effect. So my men are about to be ambushed by Carthaginian troops who could be coming over either hill here. This might give you a better sense of just how unfavorable the terrain is for my men, like trapped out here in the open. So I've got a couple Royal Spartans, a couple of Heroes of Sparta, I think like 6 Spartan hoplites, a couple of cheap perioikoi spears, and then I have a couple of perioikoi peltast. And those are basically just to help fend off elephants in case the Carthaginians bring elephants. And you can see some of the first Carthaginian troops actually just up over the ridgeline here. So a couple of late Libyan hoplites. I'm seeing several Libyan infantry through here. I think they're all Libyan infantry. They are 5 Libyan infantry, 2 Cretan archers, African war elephant, and nothing has surfaced from this side of the map yet. Oops, from over here. So I'm still leaving some units in the rear, but I need to go ahead and start trying to outflank my enemy's position, because otherwise just fighting uphill I'll lose. But at least in this vicinity, like so for instance if I assault here now, I'll have superior numbers with extremely strong units on my flank, Royal Spartan and a Hero of Sparta. There's nothing at the moment besides the elephants that's a real threat to my Royal Spartans. And it looks like there's just some lag there for whatever reason. I'm not sure what that was, so apologize if it showed up in the video, but my opponent has this Carthaginian cav, again though that's no real threat to any of the troops that I brought here except for my skirmishers, though I don't really want to get rear charged. So I leave these Royal Spartans and Heroes of Sparta in the back to try and fend off this cavalry. And then I see Libyan peltast popping up over here. And my opponent really just needs to keep these elephants at a safe distance until later in the game, because I don't really have the tools to protect my peltast for too terribly long. And especially considering that now there's a noble cav and 2 Carthaginian cav behind me, along with at least 2 Libyan peltast. I think there's a 3rd. So I really have no way to protect my peltast, and my other troops are engaged. But my opponent goes ahead and starts moving his elephants forward, and they're going to come under a little bit of javelin fire from my perioikoi spear square. But I basically am just trying to keep these peltast away from his cavalry, and my opponent's attention is elsewhere over here. Definitely should have been here on my skirmishers. His cavalry in a rear charge won't be able to kill my Spartans, but killing my peltast means that his elephants should be able to, for the most part, roam free and kill many of my men. And he's not able to micromanage them out of this position quickly enough. And again, see how I'm able to intercept his cavalry, keep my peltast alive for just a moment, and all it takes is a single volley, and his elephants are going to go berserk. Not really sure why that is, but it doesn't take much when it comes to javelins to run elephants berserk. And in any case, you can see that he is now going to make good on this, try and destroy my perioikoi peltast. And even though his elephants are running berserk, there's still 14 of them, or 14 men in the unit, and they're going to wreck my guys while they're running amok. But my opponent went for a quick charge here and then ran off, and then came to this other unit, which means these guys can now throw javelins at his elephants. And I'm going to be able to kill more of his elephants, because he's not able to address both these skirmishers at the same time. But this is big trouble. This perioikoi peltast is routing, and it'll probably shatter here at any moment. It just did. So this is my last hope, basically, at taking out his elephants. And I have a decent chance here because his noble cav are not in good position. And there you can see another of his elephants dropping. So he's now down to just 10 men in this unit, which is 4 elephants at this point. Or no, 5 elephants, sorry. More javelins coming out. 2 more elephants down. These elephants, though, get over here, and I was pretty worried that my guys were going to rout here. So if you're looking, that penalty is not in play. I think they've taken away the penalty when fighting this battle, and over here you can see that my my Spartan hoplites, Royal Spartans, and Heroes of Sparta have been able to tear apart his Libyan infantry. My general, though, however, is not in such a great situation. My opponent brought out these Libyan peltasts and started firing into the back of my general and managed to kill quite a number of them. But fortunately for me, his main infantry line is broken at this point, and my units are starting to mop his up. His Libyan infantry are decent units. It's just going to take them a while to chop through Spartan hoplites, and they most certainly can't chop through... there goes one of his last elephants, and probably the last one here. So the elephants are finally dealt with. Yeah, his Libyan infantry can maybe chop through Spartan hoplites, but they're not going to be able to chop through Royal Spartans or Heroes of Sparta, and he really needed the elephants for that. And honestly, I think here that my opponent probably should have just gone without the noble cav, gotten more infantry, probably bring some Iberian swords to this fight too. That way you can just hold me across the front, maybe with hoplites of your own. So hoplites last a long time against other hoplites because both are fairly low attack. Whereas sometimes sword infantry will die faster to elite hoplites because they usually have lower melee defense than other hoplite units. And I'll just kind of give you some chance to watch some of this last bit of fighting here between the Libyan infantry and my Spartans. I got Royal Spartans behind these guys, or Heroes of Sparta, one of the two. So really mopping up the remainder of the Carthaginian troops here. And again, I think my opponent would have been better off to have spent some extra money on, say, just a unit like some Iberian swords. And I would have brought them instead of these late Libyan peltasts because they're cheaper and they have more javelins. Their javelins are lower damage, but there's a lot more of them, and they're more versatile in melee, I believe. Now, don't get me wrong, these Libyan peltasts have their purposes, but I don't think that this was probably the fight for him. Or if he was going to use them, he needed to bring them up at the same time and try and get javelins in the back of my men while the infantry fight was going on. But yeah, anyway, again, at this point, the Carthaginian troops are outnumbered, and I brought a lot of high morale units, like Spartans and Royal Spartans and stuff like that, because I thought there was going to be a morale penalty. But since there's not, again, it just means the morale of my army is going to stay strong here. My units in the end were going to end up being higher morale than my opponents, and he doesn't retreat his peltast here, and my Royal Spartans will chop them down. He's got this last Libyan infantry here, trying to cut its way through my Spartan hoplites, and it's just not going to happen quickly enough, and they're horribly outnumbered, and I can start chasing his skirmishers. My Perioikoi peltast still alive, going to try and chase down his mercenary Cretan archers, and at this point it's going to be pretty much GG. Now my opponent was fairly new and kept saying like, oh, I'm no match for you and stuff like this. You know, I think that new players, you just need to stick with it. I've played the game a lot, and when you look at it, as much as I've played the game, a lot of people probably could have become pros in the same amount of time, so I don't think that it necessarily means that I have any particular type of skill. I just have more time in the game, and there's a certain degree of which understanding the game and understanding its mechanics will help you get better, and a certain percentage of that is just going to be your skill, your situational awareness, your ability to move units, stuff like that. So it's kind of a 50-50 thing that you need to learn. For me, I think I understand the game fairly well, and I think I understand army selection, stuff like that fairly well, understand the factions, the mechanics, again, fairly well, not perfect. It's enough to help me to do fairly well. Said that enough times in this video. Yeah, it's enough to help me, and I think that that's one of the first things you need to start learning as a new player. Learn about the troops, learn about the armies, learn about the mechanics, the stats, all that kind of stuff. That's step one. And then start to fine polish some of your ability to control your troops and other things like that. And it'll go a long ways. Even just picking the right armies makes a big difference. So like in this case, too many skirmishers. I think my opponent was going to have the ability to surround me, which means even if I had brought a lot of skirmishers, he wouldn't need to worry because his guys would have had cover. They would have been charging downhill, and I would have been surrounded. So my skirmishers wouldn't have been able to work very effectively because they were surrounded. As far as cavalry goes, I mean, just probably, 2 units of cheap cavalry would have been plenty. That way, if I did bring skirmishers, you could try and get to them quickly. These noble cav, both units, that would have been better served as infantry, like some Sam Knight warriors or something like that. And then these peltasts, I would have swapped them out for Iberian swords as they were cheaper, saved the money on the Cretan archers, and all that infantry would start to add up. And you can see that my Spartans were already struggling in some places with his Libyan infantry. You can see these 3 units here. So if he would have had even more infantry, it would have been a real struggle for me, or Iberian swords throwing their Soloferum into the back of my Spartans, that would be a very dangerous situation. Anyway, good game to my opponent. Again, a few changes there, and I think it would have made that a lot more difficult for me. But it's fun to get to play these battles, and I appreciate him playing the battle with me. Had a good time and enjoyed it, and hopefully I can help teach you a little more with these videos. I know nothing about ambush battles in general, though, just because I haven't played many of them, but that's part of the fun. So yeah, it looks like that morale deficit might be gone. So maybe a reason for you all to get out there and try some of those ambush battles. You could even kind of create your own rules. Since the attacker probably has a lot of advantages, maybe you could cut the funds just a smidge for the attacker. Or maybe let the defender have a strong faction like Rome. And since you're going to have superior positioning, you could take lesser factions and just kind of see how that turns out. That might be kind of a fun way to play those battles too, and I'll try and do some more. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing off for now. Hope you all enjoyed it.